who smell good vegan jad. And in the news tonight.
Who says there's nothing to do in Trinidad and Tobago? Over the last few weeks, we've been taking you through a number of different locations right here in Trinidad that you can take your family and friends to over the last July-August period. We're going to continue for this show where we will explore the French Connection. We'll be taken on a tour with the Ministry of Tourism in collaboration with the Trinidad and Tobago Incoming Tour Operators Association from right here in Port of Spain all the way up to La Vision Paramin. I have with me Sherry-Ann, Andrew and Lorraine, all part of the Incoming Tour Operators Association, who are going to be taking us through this day's tour. So Sherry-Ann, tell us a little bit about what we're going to be doing.
Today we're just going to do a few locations in Port of Spain, but the highlight is of course Paramin. So when we get up there, we'll give you a whole lot more information about the French Connection.
Excellent. And Andrew, tell me a little bit about the Banwari experience.
Well, the Banwari experience is a company that came about with the intent of showing off the real Trinidad and Tobago, both to visitors and locals. The tour you're doing today, for instance, will give you a little taste of how we design tours. Paramin is just one of many tours we do around Trinidad and Tobago that has a lot of interaction with local and the guests. So you'll get a reflection of that today.
Excellent. Lorraine, you're the president of the Incoming Trinidad and Tobago Incoming Tour Operators Association.
Yes,
what is the relationship here?
As president of the Trinidad and Tobago Incoming Tour Operators Association, I have been tasked with the overall management of Experience CNT 2014. So this year we are really happy to be partnering with the Ministry of Tourism to produce some 14 tours, so all parts of Trinidad and Tobago for our people to enjoy as well as visitors to Trinidad and Tobago.
Great. So today we're doing the French Connection. Let's do it.
Some good news today. Yes, that is what I say. Give me some good news today. That is what I say. I want a day when nobody didn't kill nobody and nobody didn't shoot nobody and nobody didn't hurt nobody. No, nobody didn't lie, kidnap, murder, rape, mama guy. Nobody and nobody had to cry. Nobody know. Some good news today. Yes, that is what I say. Give me some good news today. That is what I say. I want a day when nobody didn't kill nobody and nobody didn't shoot nobody and nobody didn't hurt nobody. No.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Lorraine Pouchet, Trinise Pouchette. I'll answer to both, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to Experience CNT 2014. We are really happy that you have chosen to go on this tour. It is one of the more popular tours for this year, and we hope that you really enjoy it and give us the feedback that is necessary for us to forward to the ministry to make sure that we can make this an annual event. We will do our best to make sure you have an enjoyable experience, but your job is to tell us that you enjoyed it so we can forward that and get this done not for 1 month next year but maybe 2 years. This year we are partnering with the Ministry of Tourism, and in case you did not know, the tours are subsidized. What you paid is actually 50% the cost of the tour, and the ministry has paid the other 50% to ensure that our people can holiday at home in a reasonable and inexpensive manner and thus showcase Trinidad and Tobago to the kids and for the future generations. So thank you all and have a great day today.
Bonjour, bienvenue. Good morning. It is such a pleasure to welcome all of you all to the French Connection. My name is Sherry-Ann, and I am one of your guides today. When we get up to Paramin, you're going to meet another guide, that is Podesta, that would take us through Paramin. But before we get up there, what I would be doing is pointing out places of interest in Port of Spain itself, and to share with you some history, and also to show you the fascinating facts about us as a people. All right? I'd like to introduce you to our driver.
Hello, morning.
This is Cassie. And Cassie has been doing this for a very long time. You are in safe hands with Cassie. So we're going to leave here now and we'll start our tour through the streets of Port of Spain. All right, let's go. I want you all to look at this lighthouse that we are probably passing all the time. I never really pay attention to. The lighthouse is very, very unique for two things. If you notice it, it leans. And the other thing about that lighthouse is that in no other part of the world would you find a lighthouse located in the middle of a highway. It's only in Trinidad the lighthouse is in the middle of the highway. It has been there since 1842, when all of this area, as I mentioned before, was water. We are going to turn left, and as we turn left, I want you to notice this fort. You all know we have a fort right here. Across on your left, just in front of the trees or behind the trees, depending on how you look at it, you would see some cannons. Those are the remnants of our Spanish past. That is called Fort San Andres. And that fort has been there since the 1700s, when it was just on an island on its own spot. We are going to make a right turn. This is actually South Key, and it was called a key because this is where the boats were moored, right here. So after the reclamation of the land, which started with our last Spanish governor, everything changed. So the area we know as sea lots, literally, it was lots taken from the sea. And as we head up to the top of George Street here, we are coming to the church. And paintings by Jean-Michel Casabon shows you the Catholic Church. You would see an embankment, a lady right by the water's edge, as the church was also found at the water's edge. And it has been there since the year 1836. So hence the reason serious renovation work or restoration work must take place on this church. Many of the buildings or churches that you would see in Port of Spain, you look at the stone. The stone that was used came from Laventil. It's called blue limestone. So here, it was always the area that you're going into your church. People will always be across on this side. We call it now the Brian Lara Promenade, but previously it was called Independence Square, and even before that, it was called Marine Square, because the sea came all the way up to the sidewalk. Now, there was a governor, a military governor, an English military governor by the name of Picton. And Picton had his office somewhere around this spot on your right side. You see where you're seeing Lucky Bakery? The governor had his little home or his office right there. He had Trinidad's first secret police. And his secret police, when they travel around, they would get information about people coming into Trinidad. They would inform the governor. The governor would then meet these people as they came on the boats and say to them, listen, I've heard so and so about you. I'm giving you a chance to reform from your ways. If you don't, the wind shall pass under your feet. And he would then point them to the area where hanging used to take place. So we like to say, hang them in Woodford Square. Actually, the hanging used to take place right around Lucky Bakery, right across in that area. When I take out Israelis and they look at our police uniform and they see what we call the Star of David, they ask me, Sherry, why do y'all have our Magen David? Because that's what they call it, the Star of David. I am actually happy to say, actually we had it first, because Picton came here around 1797, and he came with this Star of David, and his police started using the Star of David. And so Trinidad's police is the only police service in the world actually that does not use the official emblem, our national emblem, as its official one. It has the star, it has the bird. On our right side, Cipriani, Arthur Cipriani, he was one that fostered for change in our politics as well as the treatment of people. He wanted free mandatory education for children. He also lobbied for the 40-hour work week. And so we recognize him by having this statue. On your left, Abercrombie Street, King Street. On the street going down, you would see some hooks. Look at, this truck is blocking it. Yes, now. There's just one right by the sign. There's a hook and a ring. And it's actually found all along the side of this building. Those hooks and rings were used to tie horse-drawn carts. On the outer face of our Twin Towers, we have our coat of arms. And of course, we are sometimes referred to as the land of the hummingbird because we have about 17 species of these birds in Trinidad. Over 400 species of birds, in fact, is what we have here. But then the words at the bottom is very important to us. Together we aspire, together we achieve. In order for us to move on as a society, it's necessary for us to work together. And why is that? Because I started off by telling you the first people were the indigenous people. Then came the Spanish, then the French, then the Africans. And with the arrival of the British, you found that more people had to come. The Portuguese, the Lebanese, those from Corsica, those from India. Now, this is a wonderful thing for ethnic blending. On your left side, this was the government house before it moved to the Red House. Before the idea came up to build the Red House, Governor MacLeod used this area as his office. And so this is where freedom or emancipation for African slaves were declared, right here. In just a moment, we are going to make a left turn onto Abercrombie Street. And Abercrombie was the English general that sailed right into Trinidad and took Trinidad from the Spanish. On your right side, we have the Holy Trinity Cathedral. The Holy Trinity has been there since the year 1818. Again, very Gothic in its style, and the stone used is blue limestone from the Laventille Hills. The person responsible for building Port of Spain as we know it now was actually Governor Woodford. Because even though he was an Anglican, he insisted on building cathedrals. He was not a Catholic, but he insisted on getting the Catholic cathedral up, the Trinity Cathedral. And then we have the square, which we now named after him. But previous to that, it was called Brunswick Square. And even before that, it was called Place of Souls. Across on your left side, we have our Red House. And our Red House, as you can see, is undergoing a restoration. But it has been doing that for a while. Governor MacLeod laid down this area to be built as the site for the government house. Woodford Square, the fountain in the middle has been there since 1866. 1866, it was given as a gift. It was given by a Mr. Turnbull. A building hardly anyone ever pay attention to is the Heritage Library. The library was actually in the Red House first. And then Lord Harris decided that a building should be built for that, and so you had the this library here. And a building hardly one ever notices is this one here on your right, this church. The St. John's the Baptist Church. And that property or that church has been there since the year 1856. And that's why I'm telling you, hardly anyone ever notices that church, the London Baptist Church. So we are now on Pembroke Street. And we are about to pass between two schools, the boys' school being established in 1863 and the girls in 1836. This was also the home of the Archbishop before they moved across to around the Savannah. So the Archbishop was found here. You all know the name of this square we're coming up to on the left? Lord Harris Square. And Lord Harris was a governor from England, of course, that encouraged local government. He was the one that started local government, in fact. As we get to the top of the street and you look across to your left, you would see the Napa building, the National Academy for the Performing Arts. It is a school, it is a hotel, there's a restaurant, there's the performing area for artists and so on when they come into Trinidad. As we make a left, our Royal Victorian Institute, our museum, and this is where you would find paintings of what Trinidad looked like during the 1800s from Jean-Michel Casabon. On your right side is our Memorial Square, and it is dedicated to the servicemen and women that died during both World Wars I and II. We take for granted this cenotaph, but it is possibly one of the most beautiful cenotaphs in the world to remember those that died. The brasswork showing the soldier guarding his friend, the nurses at the side, and the angel at the top to protect those soldiers during both World Wars I and II. Across on your left, we're also coming up to the National Operations Center. Previously, it was the office of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and also it was the person that built it was William Gordon Gordon. He was a Scotsman, and he was the founder of our Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Have you ever wondered why WASA has all these wells and pumping stations all around the savannah? In acquiring this land, because all of this was sugarcane, and it was owned by the French family that came in called the Pichet family, and they owned all of this. So they required that no permanent structures ought to be placed on this area, and the burial site also must be there. So in just a little bit, actually you can see it from here, y'all might have a cemetery inside there, but you know, no funerals would take place there, and that is simply because it's an aquifer. It provides water for the hospital, and so that is why we have all these WASA pumping stations found here, because at the bottom it's a reservoir to hold all this water. So now we're coming to the magnificent wonders of architectural design in various states of repair and disrepair. And these were the mansions found in Port of Spain from around 1902 to 1912. The first one, Queen's Royal College for Boys. The person building it, he attended this school as well. This